Hello back, grade 11. I was interrupted, but I had to switch off. But never mind, we're carrying on. We were busy doing the sync edit mode. Remember the sync edit mode? If you highlight everything and then you click these two little orange yellow pen things, and then you can type whatever you want here, but obviously I want to type TBL game, and we have to change this to game because we're now on the game tab sheet, TBS add game, and we want to set the grid column widths for DB grid 4. So check the numbers. So we have 2, 3 and 4. Make sure it's the right DB grid name. Right, so now I'm going to copy and paste this to the other two tab sheets. Make sure I am actually on show event on show. The ones for the game tab sheets, and this is going to be DB grid 5. I can just remember it. And then for the next one, delete game on show event. Make sure you clicked on the tab sheet. Make sure you can see those blue dots there and there. That top line must have some blue dots on. Then you've got the tab sheet selected. And the on show event, Control V, and we know we're in DB grid 6. And then the last one is going to be a little bit more tricky. We go to the on show event, and we can decide what kind of query we want to, what's the name here? I'm going to use query. Now we haven't actually done queries proper yet. Query chess.active equals false. Query chess.sql.text equals, now we can decide which which tab we want to display. Select star from game. Let's just select star from game, and then we set the grid column width. Now the reason why we're doing this is because these database grids cannot be used if we don't if we don't say the false and true, the active, false and true. When we write a query, use the active property of the query false, and SQL.text select the text in inverted commas, SQL.text query.active equals true, and then you can call set grid column width. You can't call set column widths if you don't do this first, disconnect and connect. Otherwise the set grid column widths won't work very well. So you have to use set grid column widths with a disconnect, a false, active, false and true. So remember that. Now I'm going to run the program and you'll see the difference. You won't see it before runtime, but you'll only see the grids nicely aligned after runtime. As you can see, those are the grids. Now of course you could change the size of your database grid. So if we go to our tab sheets, you'll see that they're all neatly aligned database grids, and they're fitted basically so that you can see. And this is let's go to the reports, and there's our query where it's displayed that. Now of course you just change the size of the grid to suit your display. Right, so now we've got that set up. That's the main setup. Once we've done that, then you're ready to write the rest of the code in TBS add player. We've got our main buttons going to the right tab sheets. Now in TBS add player we're going to use insert. Remember the word insert, and then we have to insert a row into our database table. So first thing first is to go and see what are the fields, what are the data types. Well, player name's a string, school's a string, team's a string, and because this is an auto number we don't have to worry about it. That's why I wanted you to have auto number primary keys, and you have to have primary keys, and they're auto numbers. So for inserting a player it's easy, the player's name, the school and the team. So we just need edit boxes because those are just strings. So we can go and get an edit box, 3 of them, and it's very important to name, and of course you must put captions on these, and you must get rid of the text property of the edit box, and you must name your edit boxes. All I'm going to do, as I said before, is name the components. You've got to change them and make them look neat and put captions. So this is going to be EDT name, this is going to be EDT school, and this is going to be EDT team. Now you must remember, team has got to only be A or B. So what we could do is put in a checkbox or a radio group box even. Let's make a radio group so they can just choose a team. Radio group buttons there, and I'm going to call it RDG, not the caption, the name property. You must change the name, but you have to change the captions. RGD team, radio group team, and you've got to change the caption of this. I'm not going to be doing that, that's your job, of all your components, A and B, so they're easy to choose one of those, and they can only choose one. As you can remember, with radio group boxes you can only choose one. Now you can decide, obviously there's going to be lots of data, maybe you need to make this larger and so on. And then we're going to get, or you can put this on that side. I'm not going to be worrying about how the thing looks. You have to worry about how your program looks. Now we're going to go to the name property of the button, BTN add player. So here's where we use BTN add player, whereas in our main page we said BTN go to add player. So you make your names detailed so that you can read them. BTN add player, so we're going to read off those and that and put it into our player. So you can make variables here, var s name, s school, s team, variable string type of variable, and then we're going to say s name equals edt name dot text, s school equals edt school dot text, and then s team edt radio group rdg team dot items square brackets rdg team dot item index, and that will give you the value of this, A or B. It will give you either A or B. That's a good way to making sure that the person types has only one, they can only choose from either one of them. That's the best way to do it. You don't need a case structure for a radio group box. You can just do this. STeam equals RDD team dot items, and then the actual item index, RDD team dot item index, and this applies with combo boxes, list boxes, and radio group boxes. You use the same method if you want to just access the actual caption that you see here of the components. Right, so now all we do is remember before you use your data module, you have to quote the name, this part, this DM games here in your code. Sorry, I'll keep going to that one. With DM games, do begin and end. TBL, which table are we talking about? Well, we're adding a player, so it's TBL player dot insert, then TBL player square brackets. What did we call our player names as well? It's handy to have your database printed out. Player name, school, and team. Player name colon equals s name, TBL player square brackets school. See why I didn't use capital letters in my column headings of the tables. TBL player team, and then you say TBL player dot post. Then this is what you have to do next to make sure that your grids are lining up and you have refreshing your grid. You have to go and copy that code from the on-show event, this code for that tab sheet. You copy and paste it into here, and then everything will be lined up neatly as well. Make sure sure we're dealing with the right table, and the set grid column width is using the right database grid. So after you insert or edit or delete, you go and copy and paste this code so that we can refresh the display. Let's see what syntax errors I have here now. Let's go to add a player. I'm just going to use the default btn add player, and as you can see, I didn't type anything, but it's all refreshed and everything's perfect. Right, that's adding a player in. Done. Then we go to edit player, and we're going to go to how do we edit a player? Well, we have to choose a player to edit. Let's say we want to change a player from team A to team B, or we want to change their school, maybe they moved school, or we want to actually change their name. Well, we're not likely to do that, are we? So we won't worry about changing the player name, but we will change the school or the team. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a radio group box for them to choose what they want to change. So let's go and put a radio group box in here. Another one. Choose what to change. We also want to, okay, let's go and set that up quickly. Name property, RDG choose to change, choose to change, and then we're going to have the items here. Do you want to change the school name, or do you want to change the team? Okay, so we have two things to choose. If you want to change the school name or the or the team, sorry. Then the next thing that you have to worry about is which name do you want to change. Now, it's not a good idea to just go and click on the field here. We have to go and have a combo box for them to choose a name from a combo box. So we'll go and put a combo box in here. Let's give it a name. CMB choose player to change. No, wrong name, long names, but it's actually can be very important when you have lots of combo boxes that you're going to use. You need to differentiate one combo box from the other. So obviously you're going to put a label over here to say choose a name. So they're going to choose a name, and then they'll choose what thing they want to change. Now, depending on what they want to change, we'll have different code for that, and then we'll have a button here. But the thing is, if you're going to choose a school name, we have to have an option for them to actually input a school name. So we'll use an input box for that. If we want to choose a team, then we will have another radio group box appearing. Radio group box. This one can appear out of the blue, where we're going to give that a name. RDG choose RDG, okay, new team. Okay, RDG, I'll call it new team because I've already got a RDG new team. I've already got RDG team. That's why you have to make sure your names are all very detailed. And then over here in the items, we'll do the A and B again. Click OK. And we make this invisible, so we'll set the visible property to false beforehand, so you won't see it when you run to this code, only when we click on that button. So that's going to be an issue, but don't worry, we'll fix it. But first, how are we going to get the names of the players into this radio group box so they can choose the actual player? It's not good enough to just click on there. We want to do it properly. So in the on show event of this tab sheet, we go to the tab sheet in the events, and on show, go down to on show here. We are going to fill the combo box up. So to fill that combo box up with the names, we say TBL player dot first. Then while not TBL player dot end of file do, you might remember this, begin and end, and of course TBL player dot next, and inside here we'll quote the combo box name, which is CMB choose player to change, CMB choose player to change dot items dot add, and in brackets TBL player square brackets player name. I think that's how I spelled that field. I hope it is. So that's the field in the database, but it's a good idea, actually it's important, to clear the combo box first, clear it, and over here we make the sorted equals true so that it's in alphabetical order, easier for the user to choose. So these are all things that will add up to marks because you've made your program user friendly. Right, now we're going to go back to this. We filled the combo box up. If you run the program, you'll see when we go to edit player, there's the combo box and it's in alphabetical order. So they're going to choose a name and they're going to click on one of those. We've still got to write code that when we click on that, then that's going to be visible. So let's go and do that first. So we click on our radio group box and we're going to go to the on click event of the radio group box. On click event. So on click event, we're going to say case RDG choose to change dot item index of. Now we do need to have the item, the case structure. We can't just go and 0 and 1. Now what I've done is I've made this invisible. I can actually put an edit box here as well, but I'm going to make RDG new team visible if RDG new team dot visible colon equals true, and then I'm going to put another edit box on top here and make that invisible for the user to type in the new name, team school name. I'm going to call this name, go to the name property, I'm going to call it EDT new school. Very important that you name these things. You'll be surprised how lost you can get in your program if you don't name it. And of course you must put captions next to all of these things and make them invisible as well. But I'm making this and this invisible. If I put a caption there, I'm going to make that invisible too. So, okay, fine, I'll do it there. Label, choose a new school, choose a new school. That must be invisible also. Visible false. The edit box is going to be visible false. And then when this radio group box is clicked, we have two things that we're going to do. We're going to make the label 2.visible. I know I didn't change the name of the label. We're going to make it true, and we will make the EDT new school dot visible equals true. But we also have to do the following: RDG new team dot visible colon equals false. You must make that other one false, because it can get to the point where you have it visible and then for the next button click it's still visible. So we have to do that, make sure that the others are false when the other when one is true. So we're going to make, if they choose the second option, which is for the team, we'll make the visible, the first option components false. That's for making sure your program is running properly. Okay, so we'll do file save all, And if I run the program, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we'll go to edit player, choose a player, click on school name. Okay, and if we click on team, can you see? We don't want them to be visible at the same time. Right, that's that done. Now once we know that everything has been chosen, this button click has to do the editing. So we still have to read the radio group to change event. And this name of this button, which is going to do the actual editing of everything, we're going to call it EDT, what is the name property? Button, sorry, BTN. You must always change your name, your button name. It's very important, otherwise you'll get lost. It's so easy to code when you can see what you're dealing with. So in this button we are going to call it BTN change player. That's good enough. And then inside the code we've got to read the name of the person. var is name. I can use this variable again, it's fine, it's local variables. His name colon equals, and that combo box CMB choose player to change, CMB choose player to change dot text. Luckily we can use the dot text property. Choose player to change dot text, and then we've got to do the case structure. Case. Why? Because we still have to find, we can't read from something that's not visible. Well, we can, but it's going to be a problem. So we still got to go back and read what radio group box they actually chose there, which option they chose. RDG choose to change. Case RDG choose to change dot item index of naught, and we will do begin and end. There's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to do, and then 1 begin and end. Okay, so if it's naught, we're going to read the name from the school. So SCH, and just use SCH colon equals ET new school dot text, and then we're going to loop through the database table, but we have to say with DM games do, with DM games do begin and end, and we say TVL players dot first, and then while not TVL players dot end of file do begin and end. And go through the loop, and remember TVL players dot next. Always got to do a dot next before, otherwise you're going to have a problem. Now we must think very carefully. Are we going to go through every single row? Are we looking only for one name? We're only looking for one name, therefore we need to introduce a boolean flag be found, a boolean variable called be found. Set it to false over here, and then the reason why we're doing this is because there's two options for this loop to close. One, when you get to the end of the file, and the other, when we find a match. What if the player's name is right at the beginning of the database table and you've got hundreds of players? Well, you wouldn't want the poor processor to go and process hundreds of lines of table, hundreds of records or rows of the table called players. If there's 100 of players in here, and we're only going to the first or the second one, and there's still 100 more players there, you don't want your processor to be working overtime for nothing. So therefore we're going to stop the loop if we find the name. If TVL players square brackets player name equals S name, then we're going to set our boolean flag to true, because we found it, be found colon equals true, but we're also going to edit that particular row. we're going to say TBL players dot edit, and then TBL players square brackets, and this was the school, colon equals SCH. And that's it, folks. That is it. That is it. Now I've got this width over here, but I don't actually have to put it there. I can put it right over here at the top, and then right at the bottom, and I get rid of this other end, which is here, this one. Oh wait, no, that's the loop. Sorry, that is the width end. So I'm going to get rid of that. And this is the beginning and end of that case option, that, and then over here the end will be the end of going through the data module. So there's a lot of things to do. Remember, we have to put comments end of, and by the way, case structure, every single line you have to put a comment in, end of using the data module. So we need to do this end of while loop, and so on. Very important. And for every line you have to put a comment on. And I'm not going to do that now because it's quite long. It takes a long time. Now the next thing that we have to do is number 1. If they choose this one, if they choose the team, and the radio group option is 1, that's 0, that's 1, remember, and that's 0 and that's 1. But we're going to, this is option 1 for the radio group box. This is the button click event. We have to go and check what they chose originally over here in this button click event. So what we're going to do now is get the actual team, the new team. So I'm going to call it S new team, and so I'm going to say S new team colon equals, what is the name of this radio group box? RDG new team, RDG new team dot items square brackets RDG new team dot item index. And it's done. Now we have to go and use our edit, but guess what? I'm copying and pasting because I can. Control C. I'll copy and paste that in this option, radio group option, and this time all we're going to do is team is going to be S new team. That's it. Now we're not quite finished yet. So remember, we're in the button click event, reading this, and then because when they click on this, that's going to be visible. When they click on that's going to be visible. And in the button click event, we have to know which one they chose, so we can go and read from these two components inside this button click event, and we're reading from them by getting the thing from the new school edit box, and over here we're getting the radio group box item A or B. But before we finish using the data module, guess what we have to do? Refresh our database grid. And how do we do that? Go to the on-show event of that tab sheet, and we're going to copy and paste because we can. That active table and player true, and the set word column widths, and we're going to put it at the end before we end up using the data module, so I don't have to go and say width again. See, end of using the data module. That's why I put my comment there so I can see what I'm doing. Don't forget to file save all. It's very important. You need to save all the time. Right, now and TBL player, I think it's TBL player, isn't it? What's it called? TBL player, yeah. Right, I use players and not player. TBL player, so I spelled that wrong. So all I'm doing is this, highlighting everything where I think I spelled TBL players wrong. Click the sync edit mode there, and then all I have to do is change it once and it's done. So you save a lot of time by doing that and copying and pasting. Right, and I bet you want me to run the program to make sure I haven't made any more errors. So we're going to go and change something, shall we? Let's go to edit a player, and we're going to choose, let's see, this one. So we're going to choose the team. So I'm going to make it B, and then I click on change, and there goes, wait, it didn't change. I chose B. Right, let's go and try it again. Shows that it's still team A. Oh, team. I did have it. Team. I didn't do dot post. Woohoo! TVL player. See, not only you forget it, even I, with all my years of experience, I forget to do a dot post after editing or inserting. Actually, after editing, it's so easy to forget to do a dot post. So I'm glad I made this mistake, and you won't make it either. I mean, you won't make it because I made it. So let's try again. Edit play. We're going to try and move Joseph back to B team. And then, there we go. So now he's still F full. No. Joseph. Doesn't make sense. Jane. Let's say I'm going to change the school name for Jane. And that didn't change either. I didn't actually type in there. Okay, team. Let's try Jane's team. Well, she was already. No, it's not actually working. Alright. Edit and post. And then we did that. We did that. B find equals true. Okay. This new team. Items RDG new team dot item index. Editing new school. Editing new school. Player first. Okay, SCH is editing new school. Or we choose to change. So they chose that, then that should go in. What I'm going to do is just open the database, open player. You don't know that nothing's changed there. Shows it's still A. Now changing back to B. I'm doing something wrong. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a 5-minute break and I'll come back and then we will fix it. So I'll show you what I did wrong. Okay. Bye.